Hello, this is Chapter 2. We're going to start talking about planning your career. We'll kind of go through the steps of that entire process, talk about the difference between a job and a career, standard of living, a variety of other different types of things as well. Your e-textbook is now live. If you look on the left-hand side of D2L, there should be a item on the side called e-textbook. If you select that, I've already put the link in there. You should be able just to click the e-text. There is, however, an access code that you'll need in order to access that, and it will pull up, once you've added that access code, a PDF file, which is your actual textbook, which will allow you to kind of flip from page to page. And it's a very, very nice interactive tool. Also on that site, on the left-hand side, you'll see a student center. There are activities built in, for instance, for each chapter and each unit. There's, for instance, practice tests, flashcards, matching games, etc. that are very helpful for you in this online learning process. So please go through as I'm going either through the lecture notes here itself or at a later time. Please make sure that you read through Chapter 2. Also, I highly encourage that you're taking notes during this lecture. You do have access to this lecture up to your test time, so please take advantage of that, but I do highly recommend that you jot some notes down, either on the computer while I'm going through it or by hand. Here in future weeks, you'll actually have to submit notes for credit, so it's a good idea to just go ahead and get in the habit of that now. First, we need to understand the difference between a job and career. A job is something that we're mainly doing for money, something that we need some income coming in, whether it's to pay bills or to have fun or to make ends meet, whatever the case is. For you guys, some examples may very well be paying your car insurance, paying your car payment, paying for a cell phone bill, or just enough money to go out and have a good time on the weekends. A career, on the other hand, that's a commitment to work in a specific field that hopefully we find interesting and fulfilling, something that we could do on a daily basis for usually a long period of time. Now with this, in the past, a lot of people would get into one job or one career for that matter and stay there for a lifetime. They would start and end their entire career process at one place. A current trend that we're seeing is that is not the case any longer. People are bouncing not only from career to career, but also from just complete industry. So they're bouncing. Maybe someone's a teacher for a little while, then they go off into business, or vice versa. We're seeing a lot of people that are in the business field and all of a sudden continue their education, become doctors or lawyers. So we're seeing a wide crossover in industry in terms of careers. Some things to consider when choosing a career or heading towards a career, especially as at the age that you guys are now, is something that is considered as the standard of living. What you want to be able to purchase and buy, or if, say, for instance, you're a person who truly enjoys traveling, understand that you're going to have to find a career in order to support that. And that's what the measure of that is what's called the standard of living. For instance, if you want a multi-million-dollar house, you're going to have a career that supports that. If you're okay living in say, for instance, a one-room shack, you're going to need a standard of living in order to support that, and everything in between for that matter. Trends. Now, in career decisions, we see a wide variety of trends, and they're continually changing due to, for instance, technology, geographical changes, climate, travel. We see a lot of changes in the career process, and those are mainly due to different types of trends. An example is, in the past, some people would just work and work and work and work. Maybe one person would stay at home while the other person would work sometimes 1, 2, possibly even 3 jobs. Well, with that, they were no longer able to spend time with their family. So one current trend that we're seeing is people are increasing or trying to increase the amount of time that they're spending with their family or time that they just have to themselves versus that workaholic attitude. Other things we have to consider is education. For instance, if I want to become a lawyer, I'm going to have to be certified and pass my bar exam in order to become a lawyer. I'm also going to have all the necessary education in order to do that. So based on whatever career choice I want to make, please understand that you're going to have the necessary education in order to meet those goals. Now, some of you may be saying, I have no clue what I want to do when I get older. And that's perfectly okay. A lot of people are in the same boat that you are. And ways that we can kind of start at least honing in on some of the things that you may be good at, not necessarily things that you enjoy, but things that you are naturally good at are what's called aptitude tests, or the natural abilities that you have. Now, there are a lot of aptitude tests available, and I'll actually be posting one online later this week for you to take, just so that you can kind of see some of the things that you're naturally good at. Now, interest inventories work the very similar way. It's a battery of questions that's narrowed down, and based on how you answer those, it's going to tell you some of the jobs that may interest you, whereas the aptitudes are going to tell you some of the things that you're good at. These are very good tools, but please understand, just because on an interest inventory it pops up that you're going to be an airline pilot, maybe you're afraid of heights, please understand that you need to consider all factors. Two things to consider in terms of social influences in the career path are demographical trends and then also geographical trends. In the demographic trends, we've got to look at the different tendencies, and these are usually based on age, gender, ethnicity, education, and income over time. Right now, for instance, we're seeing more and more working parents, both individuals, both say for instance mom and dad are both going to work versus maybe things in the past where maybe just mom did or maybe just dad, and a lot of times that's just to make ends meet a lot of times. Some people, for instance, we talked about in the previous slide, some people enjoy more leisure time or more time with family. uh, Also, the demand for highly trained staff as we move toward 21st century skills, where we're trying to increase employment readiness for high school age students heading off to college and into the career world. Now, geographical trends, these are areas where we see large amounts of job growth. And some of these have changed a little bit. These are quoted from your textbook. Some of these have changed a little bit. Say, for instance, Arizona. Arizona at one point, before 2009, had the fastest growing population, but also the fastest growing employment rate due to the increase in new home construction and real estate boom. Now, we do see large growth in Florida, Nevada, Arkansas, New Jersey, and California. And you have to think about each one of those locations in terms of what they have to offer in terms of employment. Say, for instance, I'm someone that's interested in the healthcare field. Well, Florida may be a great place for me to consider a job because, let's be honest, a lot of old people retire in Florida. So there's going to be a large need for healthcare workers in the state of Florida. Nevada, in Nevada you have to consider what is there. For instance, to give you a perfect example, my sister-in-law has moved out to Las Vegas about two years ago. She's currently a singer and performer in one of the shows on the Las Vegas Strip. And with that, there's a huge tourism industry that's available there. Arkansas, we have some huge companies that are currently in Arkansas. For instance, it's the home base for Walmart and also Tyson Chicken. And New Jersey and California also offer a variety of different types of employment opportunities and growth. Next up, we have economic factors in the area of interest rates. You may not think that interest rates can directly affect, one, the job market, but also your career path and or training, but it actually has a great correlation between the job market and interest rates. And one example is the higher interest rates are going to cause, for instance, higher payments for houses and things like that. So a lot of times as the interest rate increases, we see a decrease in the building of or new construction of homes, which then kind of helps or hinders the job market in the area of construction. Employment experience is anything that we're doing in order to gain some experience, things that we can list on a resume, especially if this is, say, for instance, our first job or working towards getting our first job. Understand that you may not have necessarily an employment history, but we still have some experiences that we can list on a resume. A wise man once told me that in order to get a job, you need experience, but in order to get experience, you need a job. And I think that's a great statement right there in terms of the process, that you need to start somewhere, and unfortunately usually that's at the bottom, and we've got to kind of work our way up from there. Part-time work is one great way to get employment experience or begin that work history. This could be any entry-level position that we're doing. Maybe we're working in an office entering information, or we're working at McDonald's, working in the back, working as a cashier, whatever the case may be. Volunteer work. Now, this is something that we're not going to get paid for, but it's going to increase our resume, but also give us some experience that we can talk about in an interview process. Later on, or even possibly now, we can get what's called an internship. Now, some are paid, most are not, but with an internship is what we're doing is we're receiving on-the-job work training from people who are experienced in a specific field, and that's usually just something that we're doing in order to gain experience and help build that resume. Finally is cooperative education. We actually offer cooperative education here at the Park Hill School District. That's offered through the business department. And what this is this is a kind of a mix match. You're in school part of the day, but you're also released in order to go out and find an industry and work in an industry and begin to gain that work experience and hopefully help you in the future. Next is where do we find information based on careers? And looking at the slide here, I've got libraries and the Occupational Outlook Handbook listed first. Now, I understand the most probably widely used resource that we currently have is going to be the web. We can go out and find any information that we need to on different types of jobs and or careers for that matter. The reason why I put the libraries at the top is because of this Occupational Outlook Handbook. And as what this does is it tells us, based on different types of research, what the outlook for a specific career is. And is it going to increase in terms of the demand? Are there going to be more people who are going to get into this area or need to be in this area? Or is there going to be a decrease? And it's a great idea to take a look at this and see if your possible career is going to be on an increase or a decrease. Increase means that there's going to be a demand for more people. A decrease is going to result in fewer people and potential layoffs. So really consider that. You want to be in an area where there's a high demand. Next is the media and internet. For instance, a lot of times on the news channels and things like that now they're posting job opportunities. They're all over online. Those things are everywhere. Also, your professional organizations and social media can kind of fit into this as well with new softwares like LinkedIn. Sometimes I've heard different things through Facebook where people are now networking and spreading those different types of things out that way. Contacts, and this kind of gets into that social media as well, or just having conversations with different individuals in certain industries that you want to be involved in. Finally is employment agencies. This is where you're going. A lot of people sometimes call these places headhunters. As what they do is you give them your resume and your information and your employment experience, and they go and do the legwork for you. But please understand that these individuals do not work for free. They're going to do the kind of the grunt work or the legwork for you, but on the other end, they're going to want to to receive compensation for that later on.